The poetry of A. E. Housman. An introduction. Alfred Edward Housman was born on March the 26th, 1859, in a small village near Bromsgrove in Worcestershire, the eldest of 7 children. His mother died when he was 12, but his father later remarried. Despite a good formal education, where he won prizes for his poetry and a scholarship to Oxford, Housman failed to get his degree in classics. Some suggest this was due to overconfidence, a lack of interest in philosophy, or the rejection by one of his roommates, who was the love of his life, but heterosexual. Housman himself documented his homosexuality and love of this roommate in a letter to the British Library that he specified be opened 25 years after it was sent. Housman independently pursued studying the Greek classicists and published many scholarly articles on their work, which were well regarded. This resulted in his taking a position as a professor of Latin at University College London in 1892 and later at Trinity College, Cambridge. Whilst his reputation as a classical scholar grew, his poetry took longer to be recognised. His 63 poems that form The Shropshire Lad was self-published. Publishers rejected the work, seeing little value in it. Although it sold slowly, it chimed well with Victorian and Edwardian sensibilities and became a lasting success. Housman continued to write lyrical poetry that evokes the distinct imagery of the countryside, as well as powerfully questioning our mortality. A. E. Housman, as he became known, died on April 30th, 1936, in Cambridge. He was 77. His ashes are buried in Shropshire. A Shropshire Lad. An introduction. This now seminal collection of 63 poems was originally self-published by Housman in 1896, after rejections from publishers. None saw its potential. Housman, it is said, originally wanted to name the book The Poems of Terence Hearsay, referring to a character within, but changed the title to A Shropshire Lad at the suggestion of a colleague. Poems were mainly written in 1895, whilst Housman was living in Byron Cottage in Highgate. The book sold slowly. The initial print run of 500 took 2 years to sell through. However, by 1911, annual sales were in the order of 13,500 copies, and during World War I, the book accompanied many young men into the trenches. It thereafter became a cultural icon, remembering a gentler time, a better time. Housman did confess that much of what he had written about, especially in terms of terrain and geography, was assumed rather than known, that such poetic license is easily set aside when the finished work is read and admired. George Orwell later remembered, "These were the poems which I and my contemporaries used to recite to ourselves, over and over, in a kind of ecstasy."
A Shropshire Lad 1, 1887. From Clee to Heaven the Beacon Burns, by A. E. Housman. From Clee to heaven the beacon burns, the shires have seen it plain. From north and south the sign returns, and beacons burn again. Look left, look right, the hills are bright, the dales are light between, because 'tis 50 years to-night that God has saved the Queen. Now when the flame they watch not towers about the soil they trod, lads will remember friends of ours who shared the work with God. To skies that knit their heartstrings right, to fields that bred them brave, the Saviours come not home to-night, themselves they could not save. It dawns in Asia, tombstones show, and Shropshire names are read, and the Nile spills his overflow beside the Severn's dead. We pledge in peace by farm and town the Queen they served in war, and fire the beacons up and down the land they perished for.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?